Hey, what's up, guys? John Cochran here, and I have an amazing story for you guys. So we're into the business where we have to find great deals here as real estate investors, and so many investors they're into the market right now, and they're struggling to find great deals. Now, one of the best ways to find deals is by finding sellers that have a combination of levels of motivation. So they have more than just one level of motivation. Now, we developed a software that does all of this heavy lifting for you, and it shows you all, the sellers that have multiple levels of motivation or combo motivated sellers right into your own backyard. I want to introduce you guys to a student of ours that just used this software for less than 30 days and how he made an $189,000 wholesale profit using our combo seller generator. So again, $189,000 wholesale profit with dealing with a combo motivated seller. Here's exactly how we did it.
Money, 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 money.
I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you, kind of pick your brain a little bit. I get to reverse these roles a little bit. Most of the time everybody's picking my brain, but I get to pick your brain on this one, for sure. So, you just did a deal, right?
Yeah.
So you just did a deal or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Why don't you, you live in Vegas. How long have you been investing?
So I started this year. I was studying about it before that. Before I was investing, I was a marketer.
Cool.
So,
what did you do in marketing?
So I had a marketing company, and I helped businesses scale. So I did partnerships, I did different things, some of which I was more passionate about than others, but I tested a lot of things with other people's budgets. So, and I got actually got the privilege of being mentored by this guy who I really respect and admire, Dan Kennedy. And he's one of the best marketers I know of. And I just straight up asked him to mentor me. And he kind of guided me through learning a bunch of stuff and figuring out how to be a great marketer. And then I applied that to a lot of online stuff and even offline. And that seemed to have served me well in this real estate game. Is how do I find these sellers,
Gotcha. So for example, is the deal that you just did, is that the very first deal you've ever done?
No, that's the second deal.
Okay.
It's the very first land deal that I've ever done.
Got it. Okay. So that makes sense. So it's your second deal. Were you a little bit freaked out, scared, or anything like that, or?
Yeah, actually, because I didn't know anything about land.
Right.
We're starting to build, though. That's our plan. We came across an incredible building method that doesn't use any wood. It's completely sustainable and extremely energy efficient, like 60-70% more than anything else on the market, and like luxury home type of quality. So we're
cool.
actually looking to build luxury homes. So we got this land under contract thinking that it's 5 acres, thinking we were going to build 18 houses on it with this method, but the financing and the timeline was just too tricky. And a builder came out and told us, the reality of what it would cost to grade it and all this stuff. We're just like, let's just stick to one lot, because we got one lot projects that we're putting together. So it's just much easier for where we're at. We just don't want to go kind of like, get too big for our britches. So I just flipped the contract because we had done all the research and had all the package, everything ready to go. So I flipped it to another investor builder and just kind of pitted two investors against each other and got them to pay me an assignment fee to sign them the contract.
You dirty dog. Okay, cool. So, dude, I'm looking at a picture of you, and I assume your wife, girlfriend?
Yeah, girlfriend, business partner.
Gotcha. She's better looking than you, by the way, for sure.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm looking at a picture with you with a check right now for 189 grand. Um, and when did you actually join the combo solar generator?
It was like July 10th or something like that. July 7th, July. I don't remember exactly, but it was like first couple weeks in July, and I was
Okay.
joining because I was putting together a mailing, and I was trying to get, you know, kind of my head around some of this stuff with mailing, and I was like, because I know great marketing strategy when I see it, and when you talked about combining lists, I'm like, yeah, I'm not afraid of advanced strategies. In fact, I used to be the one that was making people, you know, uh, get overwhelmed because I would give them
Hmm.
too advanced shit. So basically, when I saw that, I'm like, all right. So what I did is I put together a mailer to people who had multiple pieces of land that were behind on their taxes, and also had some pre-foreclosure somewhere. And what happened was it was a very small list, and I used a bank bag as my envelope, and I sent a letter similar to the copy, yellow letter copy in your course. And that's all I sent. I didn't even do 5 steps or any postcards. I mean, I could, I'm going to. Um, but I sent that out, and I got 3 people replying to, and there was only like 60 people that I mailed to.
So you
But one of
mailed.
them, dude, he has like 70 properties, and he just had a stroke.
Oh wow.
And he's like, dude, I got it. One of them 72 acres. This 5 acres, he's got commercial property everywhere, residential. The dude's been investing for like 40 years, and he just had a stroke. And he's like, man, I gotta liquidate everything. I'm moving to Hawaii. This is too much stress. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So I knew his motivation was like, well, that, and he's also, aside from the stroke, he also, dude, he has massive over leverage because he's just an idiot investor. Like he's got a lot going on, but he's never finished a project that he
Uh,
started. He's just like one of those guys that just like goes in and gets messy and doesn't care and like gets sued and just got all kinds of problems, man. The dude just attracts.
so was
Just
he just like a
he's
super
been,
wealthy guy, or?
yeah, I guess, or he had something going on, obviously, because he's got all these properties, but he's also just not a good businessman because he's just like way over leveraged, and some things happened and different things, and like he can't really afford to keep everything he's got. He's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. So
Right.
we
Yeah,
built a
that is a
decent rapport,
yes, yes. That's the
and
key to
then
it.
and then what happened was, well, when I right after I got it under contract, um, this other property that's very similar piece of land sold for 1.5.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So, and then I did all the research, and I'm like, this is a little over my head. I'm not trying to act like I know how to do this. And yeah, so I found someone who, does that and knew their numbers, and they were stoked. And then I was like, let me just use this to go buy some small lots, like one lot, because I want to build this house. It's like completely green and aligned with my values, you know,
Hmm.
because we're putting solar on these houses that we're building so they can be completely off grid. So we're talking like modern, amazing looking design with solar on it, and having them, because they're so efficient, even in the desert where it's hot, they can be completely sustainable and not have to use any power from the grid. We'll probably still have the grid as a backup, but most most of the power, if not all of it, will be generated from the solar panels, and it'll
That's
be the
sweet.
same cost as any other house. And our building cost is about half what the normal building cost is, because it's so efficient. When we put it up, we can put the house up and be completed in a few weeks instead of
Wow.
many months.
So
Because everything's pre-cut.
right. So to recap this whole thing, so basically what you did is about a month ago, I would say you joined the combo seller generator and you already had multiple lists. And if I heard you right, you got a list of people that were behind on their property tax. You got a list of pre-foreclosure, and you got a list of people that owned multiple pieces of land. So it was 3 lists that you did. You uploaded those into the generator, and
Yep.
how many did you find that had multiple levels of motivation?
Well, 60 that had 2,
Okay.
and a few that had 3.
Okay, so there's a
But
few
the one
that had
that called
3.
me, the one that called me that I actually got deals from, and the deals are still coming. Like I got possibly this other piece, this 72 acres that I'm going to flip to DR Horton. So that could be
How
major.
many levels of motivation did the deal that you just did, how many levels of motivation did he have that you know of at least?
3.
It was the person that had 3.
He's one of the ones that had 3.
He
Yep.
was behind on property
And
tax,
like,
pre-foreclosure, and he had multiple pieces of land.
yeah, and his pre-foreclosure wasn't on his land, it was on some other property. So I'm like, man, when I just noticed, if I find people with multiple properties, it was a little bit of digging because I had to find like different LLCs that he had,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So it was like it was just like the tax list, it was manual, but it's worth it, because if I find somebody who is behind and has multiple properties, they have more
They have that problem on all of them.
going out. Well, they have more going out, so it's like even more urgency than just one person with one house, one problem.
Totally.
So I'm like, and then it's more opportunities too. So I'm thinking like, hey, I want to kind of find more of these people on the residential side. I was just looking for land because I want to build. I want
Right.
to become
You wanna
like
do
a
that.
boutique developer and build spec houses or build, small little developments with this method and pioneer this method, because I believe in it and it's incredibly cost effective and the profit margins are insane with what you can do with new construction over here. And we're trying to do some stuff in Beverly Hills too. So yeah,
Got it.
man, I've noticed like some of the wealthier people, when they fall hard because of everything
do.
they've set up.
They do. So you identified 60 people out of way more than 60, and basically those 60 people, now that they were laser targeted in, you sent them bank bags. What did those
Yeah.
bank bags look like? I've never sent out bank bags, but dude, it's genius.
Well, they're green. They say People's State Community Bank, not state community, and they basically are just like a bank. They look exactly like a bank bag that you would take to your local bank with your cash in it.
Where'd you get them from?
So the company is called 3dmailresults.com. 3dmailresults.com is their website, and they have like express mail envelopes that don't cost FedEx prices.
Mm-hmm.
They have, you just like, it works just as well. I've tested it. So I've done a lot of direct mail in my past, and I fell in love with 3D mail because I was doing B2B.
Right.
But like with lot owners, bro, like I'm putting together another campaign for people who own lots that aren't on the market. And if I can get this to work, my idea is to have these lot owners mostly own or carry for a short term.
Yeah, and you will
so
too.
I can buy a lot terms, right, and build the house and game on. Because if I get land, then I can get a construction loan, and it's going to be balls to the wall over here. So
Totally.
I'm putting that as my next step.
So inside of this bank bag that you got, you just put one of our postcards. The first postcard that we
I'll
have.
put a letter.
So you put the letter that we give. in there. You put the letter in that
Mhm.
bank bag, and then you mailed this to those people. See, that's, dude,
Yeah.
you understand this stuff. A lot of people don't understand this stuff. Is, now that you've identified the people that have multiple levels of motivation and the people that have to sell, you should be
Yeah.
spending more money, like the bank bags and stuff like
Oh
that. You
yeah.
should be doing that stuff because you've
It
identified
was more. It was like $4 per person
them.
for the
Well,
first mailer.
I know, but look at the response. Let's talk about the number. Well, let's first of all, out of 60 people, how many people have contacted you so far?
Like 12,
Okay,
but a lot of the pieces I didn't screen the land,
gotcha.
and so a lot of the pieces of land are actually really crappy.
Right,
But there's like 3 really good leads.
gotcha.
So I mean, I don't expect any. I was good with 1. You know,
Totally.
like
So,
I was good with 1, but three is fine for me. And then I can send the postcard. I'm actually slacking right now. I got to be honest. It's kind of embarrassing, but I didn't send the follow-up postcards, and I know I should.
yep.
So
Yeah, you totally should.
I've got those. Yeah, I got those. I just haven't. I mean, I haven't connected the dots with fulfillment. Like I did the yellow letters complete.
Yep.
Stuff that was easy, but the postcards I got to just get those running.
Yep. So, dude, walk me through the numbers on this contract that you flipped. I mean, what did you actually put this thing under contract with this multi-level seller? What was the
So
price?
I put it at 1.1,
Okay. So
or
you,
one at 1 million, and then sold it for 1.2. So he was him hauling around at 1.1 because he had other quote unquote interest. He was actually just smoke screening me, and if I didn't know what I knew about him and his distress, I wouldn't have called his bluff.
mm-hmm.
But I did call his bluff. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of issues with this. Like I just played up the issues like I would have rehab, because that's all I've done before is rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So like all I knew was just play up the issues, and you know, so then he had it at 1.1, but I got it at 1 million under contract, and then I told him that I had other investor partners straight up from the beginning because I didn't want him
Mm-hmm.
to be surprised when I switched. So
When you switch buyers.
I said, right.
Yep.
So then I went out and talked to some of the people that I had met at REU groups, and one of my guys from Chicago who develops, and he knew this guy from Beverly Hills, and he came out, and I just said, well, I got a lot of interest here from a lot of builders. I was just like, bullshitting. And the first one who takes it,
Your
the land, I
marketing.
got comps here. Yeah, I was marketing as I got comps here for, this is 1.4 to 1.5 value.
Uh-huh.
And for their plan, it's easily worth 2. So I knew with their plan what they're going to do, because they're going to build luxury houses right there,
Mm-hmm.
because it's already zoned for it. It's a great area. It's just too long and too much money for me. I don't have that kind of
Right.
cash right now. So I knew what their plan was worth. So I was like, I'm taking a 200,000 assignment fee, or 190, and then I, basically said, I'll assign you the contract and you can take over my position. So they basically bought it for 1.2.
So they bought it for 1.2. They knew that you were making 190 grand on this thing. They were okay with that. And let's talk funds. So since you just assigned this deal to this other buyer, you stepped out of that specific deal, and then the buyer closed on that deal, and you received the check that I'm looking at right now for 189,168.18.
Yes.
Gotcha. Dude, that is a fat freaking wholesale profit. Like, do you understand how fat
Yeah.
of an assignment fee that is? Like here in the Midwest,
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
like people like Dude, my whole thing is if it's anything over 10 grand, you have to double close that thing. And you just pulled out $190,000 wholesale fee on the assignment. It's nuts.
Hmm.
It's nuts. So let me
Well,
ask
one
you
of the
this.
reasons I
Go
was
ahead.
able to do that was because I did all the research for
Right.
him. So like I had a whole package. I had all the comps. Because I was doing it like I was gonna do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And with land, like builders are really competitive, especially in certain areas because there's no more land.
Right.
So like this was the last parcel in that area, and Steve Wynn's former business partner used to live on this street here in
Gotcha.
Vegas. So it's a really cool area. Like there's compounds around there that are $3 million. There's like, there's a well on this property. There's all kinds of really interesting things. But the thing about land is it isn't
They're not making
as
any more of it.
common as houses. So when a builder really wants to build somewhere and has a good plan, like the levels of motivation for them are also pretty high. So,
Totally.
when you kind of pit them against each other and say, who wants it?
Right.
And you've got a seller who's like, doesn't have time. Like he does not have time. He has to sell everything like yesterday, because he's run his businesses into the ground. And so, those are kind of like the perfect storm, if you
Yes,
will. And
totally.
what's cool about it is I learned so much about doing this. I learned how to be kind of not completely, but I pretty much learned how development works.
Yep.
Because I had guys working with me, sharing, showing me stuff, and like I learned a ton about how to do this, and now I feel confident to do one-off houses on single lots.
Yes.
It makes that look like no problem.
No problem. Yeah, totally. Dude, that's awesome. So, I mean, what are you going to do with the 190 grand in profit that you got? What's next for you?
Like I said, dude, I'm reinvesting in building. So it's going to be our operating capital. We had already invested in some real estate education, and we want to pay that off and just put ourselves in a good position. I don't want to slow down because after my last flip early in the year, I just like slowed down and started getting distracted by all this building stuff and
Mm-hmm.
wasn't focused on immediate cash flow, and that was a mistake because I lost momentum, and I don't want to do that again. I really don't. So like even though I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and I'm like, very excited, and I see, you know, I see myself like I don't want to just chill. I don't want to slow down. I want to use it to keep momentum moving, um, so that I can build some sustainability in my incomes.
Totally.
Because right now it's just like, 2 deals in a year isn't really my idea of my best first year. Even though one of them is a great one, it's still not like, yeah, it's still not.
It's not where you want to be.
Yeah, it's just not the sustainable part that is going to keep us really feeling secure and building a future. So,
Gotcha. Dude, that makes sense. Well, I'm going to hop off the line here, but dude, what a freaking amazing story. I love it. I absolutely love it. You did a great job. Make sure that you obviously keep doing that. Do you have any other questions for me or anything like that? On maybe some other advice I could give you or anything?
yeah, dude. Yeah, I know you got to run, but just like any advice on building new houses or spec home type stuff?
Yeah, I'll totally. Um, so here's what I'll tell you. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. And here's why I tell you this. You're in a state that gets pounded when the market goes down. I mean, it gets pounded. So, we're in a train. We're as real estate investors, we are into a spot right now to where the market's on fire. So what do we have to do, and where do we need to focus all of our power at, is going out there and finding deals like what you found, or that's where all of my effort is right now, is on finding deals, because I know that I can exit on these things. And I mean, look at the check you just got; it's huge. But here's the thing: is the market cannot continue to go up as much as it possibly is. You can't keep blowing this balloon up. Eventually, it's going to pop. And the only thing that I would tell you is to be very, very, very cautious. Move at very, very fast speeds. Get in and get out of these things. And if I was you, I would not get involved with any type of subdivisions or anything like that. Spec homes, fine. But I wouldn't get involved with any type of subdivisions or anything like that. I'd be flipping those contracts to developers and all those, just like you just did. Because
let them take the risk.
Let them take the risk, dude. Because I'll tell you, most people don't know the story about me. Is earlier on, and this was back in like 2007. So it was quite a while ago. I got involved with a subdivision, and we had I invested $100,000 into it, and at that time, a hundred grand. I mean, it was more than everything that I had. It was like everything that I had. It was 100 grand. It's like everything that I had, but I was putting it on, you know, that the 100 grand would turn into 1.3 million and whatnot. Well, what ended up happening is I got into that at the peak of the season, or at the peak of the year, and then it started the downhill spiral from there. And then 2008, 2010, 2011 hit, and then basically the subdivision ended up going under. Now I got so lucky because I got bought out of that. So I got bought out of that thing, and I did lose my 100,000. So everybody's like, "Well, John, how did you go 600 grand in debt?" You know, that was a part of it. That was a part of it that I just lost the money on and whatnot. So, dude, that's what I would tell you: is just be very, very careful. It's okay to do like onesie twosies right now, and stuff, but and you're in a
Well,
market.
I can do them quick too.
If you
That's
can,
one of the things I like about my building method, is I could do it so fast. I don't have as much time for
right.
an 8 to 12-month cycle to run me down into the ground. So
Exactly.
I'm with you, dude. And you just validated why I didn't, because I had an opportunity inside. And so I had an opportunity to actually do this deal with another guy, and he flew in, and like he had the abilities to fund it. And we just looked at it, and we're just like, man, like the voice was inside me was like, what if the market tanks? It's going to be a year and a half, 2 years before you get this done. You have no idea what the prediction could be, because the market's going crazy here. Like, it's going to correct at some point. And it's like, oh man. So the voice was saying, and you just validated what the reason I made the decision with him to not do it, because we're just like, dude, we can go buy a lot in Summerlin and like, Henderson and stuff, and build multi-million-dollar houses and make just as much profit on one house and do it quickly. It's like, and we can know our numbers. Like, we got spec, we got comps and everything. Over there, it was tricky. The data too was like, there wasn't a lot of things selling because no one's leaving.
Yeah.
So we couldn't really even prove value. So anyway, I'm with you, bro. Like, thank you for that.
You did the right thing,
because that's where the limited risk is here, and anywhere, is like, if the market's going to go down, it's going to go down over the course of 6 to 8 months.
Yes. It's not going to go down over the next 3 months. It's not going to do that. But you know what? If you get involved with a deal right now, and you're going to be involved with that deal for like 8 months or more, or even 6 months or more, dude, I would really just assign that deal, get out of it, make your money on it, because it's just too risky right now for us investors. And I'll tell you, one last point to that is, nobody knows what the market's going to do, right? We know that it's going to correct. We all know that, but how much is it going to correct? And, you could have got in this deal, and instead of making 189 grand on this thing, dude, you could have went bankrupt. I mean, you could have went bankrupt. It would have killed you if you would have done something different with it, just because of the timing. So, I mean, you did the right thing for sure.
Yeah. You're just saying, don't gamble in Vegas. on land.
Right, right. Well,
Okay. Yeah.
anywhere, dude. Like anywhere. Like it's just too risky right now with where the market's at. It's just too damn risky. And all investors, they
Hmm.
need to be playing it very safe right now. They need to be wholesaling right now. They need to be rehabbing right now, but they don't need to be getting into any big crazy rehabs. And if
Yeah.
when you got a method to get in and out of new builds very quickly, you got to do that, but still be cautious on that. And once you start to see, and trust me, I'll let you know. I'll let you know from what I'm seeing because I do all the research every single year. Um, Once the market starts correcting or whatnot, and we start to see trends of this, we'll even make some different adjustments into our business. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's still opportunities, just different
just different,
strategies
just
for
different
taking
strategies.
risk.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
dude. Well, I got a jet, but awesome job, awesome job. So I'm gonna get back in touch with Alicia, and we're gonna get you all scored away. And if you need anything else, let us know. But dude, awesome freaking job. So
Thanks, man. Yeah. And I loved your mind maps, by the way.
cool,
It's
man.
really helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate
All
it.
right, bro.
All right, see you, man.
Take care.
Peace.